The National Museum was breathtaking. The art pieces were mesmerizing. I saw some Van Goghs and other beautiful paintings. I was particularly happy to be able to admire Leonardo da Vinci's The Virgin of the Rocks. It surely was one of the most important museums I have ever seen. I have been to a lot of art museums, but this is by far one of my favorites. Drowning my eyes in the colors and emotion that the artists convey with their masterpieces was overwhelmingly bewitching. This museum was like a sea of stories told by paintings. Walking its halls felt like a promenade through a book filled only with illustrations of every era and style. Every brushstroke, the equivalent of a word.
On this trip, the thing I appreciated the most was definitely London, because I've waited my entire life to see it. Not to mention, I was so excited I could have cried. Walking the streets of London and taking in the city vibe was one thing I adored, because I find it really interesting. The way it is not too modern but very innovative at the same time, the people, the differences with Italy. I'm convinced that the things or people you love the most are the ones that also hurt and sadden you the most, which is why I feel blue thinking about the fact that I won't see London for a long time now.
What I have enjoyed the most about my journey here was the trip to London. I loved walking around the city and seeing the charming streets, monuments and buildings like the one and only Big Ben or the prodigious Tower Bridge. Visiting the National Gallery was amazing. The gallery was spectacular and the paintings were breathtaking and unique. My favorite place to visit was the Harry Potter Studios because I've been dreaming about going there since I was really young and it's been an exciting and wonderful experience.
I liked London the most, and it was my first time there. I visited the National Gallery where there are beautiful paintings and see them in real life is wonderful. We also visited the Harry Potter Studios, which I love because I like the films and it's exciting to be on the real set. I also saw the Big Ben and the London Eye. I would have liked to see Buckingham Palace, but I will on my next visit.
Karaoke was a magical moment because it was exciting and allowed shy people to develop their confidence. We all sang together very beautiful songs that everyone knew. I got even more hot-blooded when the flashlights of the phone were on because you could perceive an energy that united us all and made us unique.
The trip to London was the thing I enjoyed the most. We did a lot of things such as going on a boat on the Thames, going to the National Gallery and visit the Harry Potter Studios. I think that what I liked the most was visiting the Harry Potter Studios because I've always liked the films and books, and going there was like going back to being a child. Another thing I loved doing was going to the National Gallery since I study art and I love it. I had the chance to see in real life some of the paintings I love, and I had the chance to use the things I've learned to school to analyze the works. I also enjoyed going on the boat on the Thames because we had the chance to see a lot of the monuments such as the London Eye, the Tower Bridge and so.
The Chester trip has been magical. We did many things, very interesting, but my favorite was going to watch Gang of New York. The story was presented well and it was quite humorous too. My favorite parts were when they fought, but the saddest in my opinion was during the last fight, when Bill dies. Leaving aside the favorite parts or saddest parts, the show was spectacular.
The visit to London, in my opinion, has been the best part of this trip so far. For me, the best experience was the boat trip. We sailed along the River Thames through the center of London, whilst a tourist guide explained to us the history of the different monuments and buildings we passed by. Also, the weather was brilliant. The sun shone and there was a cool breeze, making the viewing experience of the beautiful city of London more enjoyable. We marveled at its monuments, houses and chaos from the enormous river. In conclusion, I love London and it is definitely my favorite city in the whole world. I will surely live there one day at all costs.
For me, the most unforgettable experience throughout our time in the UK was surely visiting London. The National Gallery was really intriguing and unique, and it was very engaging to look at paintings that I'd only seen in school books up to that point. Then the boat trip across the Thames was a bit monotonous, I think, and I was about to fall asleep, although the sunlight was warm and relaxing. What amused me the most, however, were the Harry Potter studios. It was so fascinating to take a close-up look at all the sceneries and costumes that were used in the movie. Overall, our trip to London was very fun, and I would definitely go there again.
The theater was what amazed me the most. Reason being, the stage looked very small, so I didn't expect anything mind-blowing. However, the actors were brilliant. They did tricks combining music and acting in a very fascinating way. Overall, I have enjoyed the variety of activities in this trip. It has exceeded my expectations.
In my opinion, the best part about this journey was the trip to London. The Harry Potter Studios was the best part, even though I've never been a fan of the series. It was really amusing and fun to visit. The National Gallery was also really interesting. Seeing all those paintings and reading there and their painted story made me way more fascinated about art. I also loved the visits to Chester and the performance of the Gangs of New York in Grosvenor Park. Overall, I'm loving this trip, the people I met, the new friends I've made, the activities we do together, and the place we're staying at, the Chester University.
The whole holiday was a grateful experience. I enjoyed the fact that we bonded really fast and spent amazing times. I really loved the trip to Harry Potter Studios because we had fun joking and messing around the place and doing embarrassing things. And walking around all this wonderful stuff in the museum was a highlight for me.
Visiting London was my favorite part of the trip. I was most curious to visit because I had not been here before. Whilst in the capital, we went to the National Gallery, which is a museum full of beautiful paintings, and I was fascinated because I really like art. I found the boat trip so relaxing and the views were amazing. We also visited the Harry Potter studios, and even if I'm not a fan, I was stunned. The reproduction of the environments was so accurate and magical to see. It made me feel like I was immersed into the films and like one of the characters. I would like to come back to London to see a different side of the city.
I really enjoyed going around the gorgeous town of Chester and seeing all of its quirky alleys, buildings and streets. The London trip was a really memorable experience. What was really surprising to me was the visit to the Harry Potter studios, which I really savored, even though I am not a big fan of the movies. The tour on the Thames and the visit to the National Gallery were also really appealing. I had the opportunity to admire real pieces of fine art, such as various paintings, buildings and churches.
My favorite thing was the trip to London. I loved visiting the city and seeing new things that I didn't manage to see before. The Harry Potter studios were amazing, the original scenery was fascinating to see, and the tour was really good. Another great thing that we did was a boat tour to visit the city, which I loved because it was really relaxing.
This is my second visit to Chester. In the first few days, what I really enjoyed was coming back here after a year and seeing my old friends. In fact, we did many activities all together that were similar to last year. For example, we went to an open-air theater, and being a spectator of the Gangs of New York show was one of the best experiences I've ever had in my entire life. A few days later we went to London, and it was the view of Big Ben that left me in awe.
Last year I came to Chester for the first time so that I could learn English, and I did, but it was my friends that made me come back. I am really emotionally attached to this city, thanks to the memories I share with my companions and the most amazing places I ever visited. In conclusion, I am 100% confident to say that the best part about my journey in Chester are all the laughs and smiles I had with my friends.
The best part of the trip was meeting so many interesting and fun people. Having come here on my own allowed me to break through my shyness and meet people who will become lifelong friends. Visiting the National Gallery in London with them was very entertaining, and it was a fun way to learn many interesting facts about the artistic world, and obviously getting to see my favourite painting ever in real life, the Arnolfini Spouses by Jan van Eyck, was a very emotional and moving moment. I was so captivated by the beauty and the cure for detail of Flemish art that it felt like I was sucked into the painting itself. It was an absolutely mind-blowing moment.
The trip to London for me was an incredible experience. I had an amazing time exploring the city with my friends. I enjoyed visiting the National Gallery and admiring the stunning paintings. Seeing Sunflowers by Van Gogh was thrilling and inspiring. The boat trip on the Thames helped me relax after walking so much, and I had the chance to appreciate London's most breathtaking and unique buildings, like the London Eye or the London Bridge. My favorite was certainly the Tower Bridge. But the Harry Potter studios were definitely what astonished me the most. The extremely detailed installation and startling special effects were absolutely fascinating, and even though I'm not very passionate about Harry Potter, I found myself entirely invested in the surroundings. It was my first visit and I will definitely be returning.